Hey guys, welcome. You know what? I haven't made a video in like a shit ton of time. So anyway, I'm just gonna. This is really just screw you. Stop. No. It's gonna take fucking forever. Joe. No. Dismiss. Go away. Well, let's just go ahead and hit a random one. 6:39 p.m. Nothing's about today. It's not even 50%, so Stitch. Looks pretty good size story. Great, let's read it. Somewhere in the United States of America, in one of the many small no-name towns, lives a perfectly ordinary human male in his early 20s that went by the name of Ezra Taylor. Notice that went right there? As in, that's not his name anymore? Living life from day to day in the same exact mundane manner. Ezra never leaves town, doesn't leave the house too often, prefers animal company to humans. He doesn't know why this is, but he always accepted his way of life as he spends his hours playing video games, reading fantasy novels, or just loafing about, taking naps here and there. There's nothing he feels like doing. In other words, the youngest Taylor of the house is a bum without drive and dream. Now, he always thought himself and his habits noble. But no, after all, what is a young 20-something supposed to do in the summer when he isn't attending college classes he was forced into? But then one day, in his infinite boredom, he gets to surfing the web, taking random and inane quizzes that have no impact, and finds something rather exciting. The furry community, of course, and all its subgroups were a new world Ezra had never heard of. Was immediately intrigued. There were people who dressed as animals. He wasn't quite sure of the reason behind it at first, possibly never totally grasped it, but he never... Oh shit, alright. But he began to gather that the fur fan base was like any other community. Someone dressed for fun, others expressed their inner alter ego, others felt more comfortable acting less than human at times, and so on. He was hooked and quickly became obsessed. Oh my god. This... Not the furries. I'm not gonna say anything because, I'm not against them. Speaking of obsessed, the ad. Just look at the fucking ad. Girls are obsessed with his comic. Anyway, his parent warned him away, or tried to, when they found their layabout brunette holding himself up in his room for days on end after frantic runs to fabric shops and craft stores. Boxes and boxes of sculpting and other art materials began to show up daily, all of them disappearing into the suddenly forbidden room in a matter of minutes upon arrival. And then there was the sudden trips out of state that lasted anywhere from a few days to a month. They had never seen the youngest Taylor so happy and driven. There was something in his secrecy that disturbed them and drove the husband and wife to enter his room unbidden. Okay, basically some guy became a furry and his parents don't like it, so that's how it is so far. I mean, I don't care. Inside they found dozens upon dozens of costumes, all in varying stages of development. With their son gone on a trip, they knew they had time to look around. There were many suits tossed carelessly in a corner, their designs basic but flimsy and cruelly put together. But as they moved around the room, they found the craftsmanship to improve dramatically in their realistic intent, as well as their fit to their son's short, slim frame. By the end of the line, they noticed the last three costumes had built-in stilts that mimicked natural movement but lacked a foot stand, and the inner layer of the suits had the outer structure, the paws or hoof hands. seemed to be finely crafted with sensitive mechanics inside. But how their son moves the fingers without any grip, they didn't know. They moved on the final piece of the suits, the masks. They hadn't ever seen anything so finely detailed, so lifelike. Their heads were all mounted delicately, mouths partly ajar with no one to keep them closed. The mother swore that if she reached out and touched one of the pink tongues, that would feel moist and warm. Father swore he saw the glistening eyes move. Neither of them expected the sudden slam of a car door opening and the swift and sharp bang on the front door when it swung open wildly, and their son's now normal hurried entrance into the dumbass. And now they're about to get caught. The boot knew that with the Zera's haste, they wouldn't be able to make it out the door, so they hid behind a rack of long, forgotten suits that could hardly compare to the three they had just finished observing. The 20-something wasn't supposed to be home for a while. Wait, was confession cancelled? Did he forget something? In any case, they were trapped, watching as their baby was slipping into the room. Fully decked out, the suit they hadn't seen as it was the chosen piece he had taken with him. The father knew immediately that something was wrong. Son's movements, too smooth for some mere puppetry, and the way the eyes flitted around the room, the pupils of the glowing green eyes expanded and contracting as they grew used to the dim lighting of the desk lamp. That was just too realistic. Their son had bought art supplies, not advanced machinery, that could dare to hope to achieve such actions. The mother, blind to the creeping feeling, noted the convincing motions of the tail as it twitched and swayed to keep her baby boy's balance. Had Ezra become a master of costume making in a sudden need to seclude himself from all things living? Her mental questions were halted by the scream that had ripped out of her throat without her permission. Sorry, I wanted to do that. In their own pondering, they hadn't paid attention to the little song their son began to sing softly, the muzzle of the mask moving in perfect sync as he started to remove his suit. What was inside looked human, but only if that human had somehow managed to survive getting skinned, and one of his paws was the pale flesh of their son's actual skin. The hands and feet dangling heavily with the left behind muscle, tendon, and bone. Shit. The stilts hadn't needed a foot brace. There was no foot to place there, and the hands needed not a grip, for there was no hand to take control of it. If he heard his mother's horrified scream, he didn't act as though he did. He was too busy singing and peeling off his current skin to settle into his old one. Stitch, stitch, stitch any life, stitch, stitch, stitch any skin, stitch, carve out, cut, bind, give life that's mine. This guy's fucking crazy. I like it. I need to meet this man. Zera's voice was gentle, almost loving, as he sung the verse over and over until it came time to remove the head of the suit. It slipped off easily enough, leaving nothing behind but a barely enclosed brain. Not even his old eyes were there, just hollow black pits that focused on nothing and everything. Zera's mother, near ready to collapse but frozen in place, felt a surge of primal fear when her once son turned those hollow sockets on her, their searing and yet empty gaze fixed on her place behind the curtain of abandoned skin of his body. Stitch, stitch, motherfucker. A second scream rang, high and shrill, followed by a third that was deep and resonating. Both were filled with the pain that would have made the devil shiver and wince. Oh my god. Neither of the parents were seen or heard from again after that, but rumor has it that if anyone is foolish enough to try gaze upon the skinless and disfigured body beneath Ezra's handmade hides, they too would become skins for the last tailor to wear. Well, fuck that shit. I want to see this man. I don't mind. Yes, I am on a trampoline. Sick. I've on sale. I want to see this guy. I want to become skin. Bye.